Week 3 lecture, Planning. From previous writing classes, you probably noticed that different texts and teachers present this process as a set of steps, like the cooking and construction planning mentioned in this week's summary. You at least have to decide what you're going to talk about, have a goal so that what you say has a point to it, be clear about your stand or position so you don't confuse your reader, and consider the level of the people you are writing for. Here's how a lack of planning can go wrong. Start writing about the environment but get sidetracked with changes in factory procedures that affect labor laws. What's the topic? Tell people to be aware of today's pollution but spend too much time talking about the past. What's the purpose? Say we need to reduce the production of plastic materials, but end up reviewing the advantages of plastics as well as the disadvantages. What's the thesis? Address the reader as an adult, but discuss the issue with elementary ideas and vocabulary that children would use. Who is the audience? It is most important to recognize that the beginning of the writing process involves thinking that is called deep, when you are engaged in the heart of the topic. You start with questions like, what does it mean? Are there examples of it? Why does it occur? How does it influence people or the world? How do people already think about it? What might change how people think about it? Is there evidence that is real, valuable, legal, moral, interesting? The questions may seem endless, and that is when you realize it might be a good idea to clarify your topic. For example, falling in love can be addressed from many different angles, so you may need to narrow it down. On the other hand, if you can't think of enough questions to bring forth a good discussion, then you may want to consider expanding the topic. The definition of an umbrella would not take many words, so you would likely have to add examples or stories of where and how it could be used. And who would want to read it unless you made it funny or interesting? If you worry about complete sentences, correct verb tenses, or even spelling at the beginning of a writing project, then your thinking jumps to a more shallow level, because then you are focusing on surface details and not the conceptual connections that shape what you are going to talk about. It's like painting while you're still building a house's framework. You want the structure to be strong before you worry about the outside appearance. Trying to edit for spelling and grammatical errors while shaping your thoughts is likely to compromise the strength of your ideas. The most effective guideline for good writing is to first work on what you want to say by pre-writing or making notes and organizing how you want to present your ideas. After you have most of it drafted, you still want to stick with deep thinking about what you are saying, so you'll need to revise for clear and powerful meanings. When you are confident that most of the writing is satisfactory, then you can ensure that you said things correctly by evaluating grammar usage and spelling. While this is a guideline for most projects, many writers find they go back and forth. We show you how most people loop back through the writing process as needed to create the best effect and fill gaps they notice as they draft their work. For example, when you begin drafting, even though you have done a great deal of preliminary work, you may find that you have to go back and do some brainstorming or mapping to rethink ideas, to find a new direction, to discover more about your topic or your true point of view. There is no rule that says you cannot or should not go back to a planning strategy to do some more discovery work. Pre-writing. The primary focus this week is on pre-writing strategies. Pre-writing refers to the notes you take before you begin writing. Think of your pre-writing notes as the start of the blueprints for a house. This is when you will usually discover your purpose and focus, determine your point of view, narrow or refine your main points, and begin considering the details that will comprise the body of your essay. Ways to generate and cluster your initial ideas include free writing, questioning, mapping, listing, tree diagram clustering, and outlining. These are called pre-writing because it is wisest to simply collect ideas before you write distinct sentences and paragraphs. Most people cannot unpack and rearrange ideas once they are committed to sentences and paragraphs, and you need freedom in the beginning of the writing process to plan your strategy. From there, you can further plan your writing strategy in the form of a scratch outline. Just as with information overload when it comes to internet searching, so can your pre-writing seem like too much information. However, if you take the information you have created, with pre-writing and analyze it for main ideas and supporting topics, you can begin to organize the information into a more coherent list of ideas. Remember that the more detailed and thorough you are at this stage of the process, the easier the researching and writing will be. You are in charge of your own process. There is no right or wrong approach, as long as you are engaged in the process with satisfying results. Those strategies, probably several that led you to your writing success, make up the right approach for you. You may and should make your writing process as individualized as necessary to use your best potential and create your best product. Thesis statement. The single most important sentence in your essay is your thesis statement. It conveys the subject of your essay as well as your point of view or opinion about the subject. Your thesis is a one-sentence summary of your essay or the main point of your essay expressed in one sentence. The central idea, claim, or proposition. A promise to your reader that you will fulfill the thesis, that you will support, illustrate, and validate it. The topic sentence of your entire essay. It identifies your subject and most of the time presents your point of view on the subject. That is especially true in what we call argumentative essays. Your thesis and the elements in the body of your essay enjoy a reciprocal relationship. The details and support you include in the body of your essay are only as effective as your thesis, and your thesis is effective only if you can use relevant, specific evidence to show that you have presented a valid point of view. Let's get started. This week, you choose 3 topics to write throughout this course, so give careful thought to topics you are interested in talking and learning about.